Hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. Today, I'm starting my 3-part series on improving scenes by discussing how to write to the 5 senses. When done well, this helps bring settings to life, pulling readers into the story. When done wrong, lengthy setting descriptions are meaningless lists on a page, extending the time between the exciting moments that we want to read. Too many of these and people will put the book down. For running, I am acutely aware of my various senses. During springtime, I will get distracted by the smells of fresh cut grass. After a rainstorm, I feel the rising mist clinging to my ankles as it dampens the sounds of my clomping steps. When I get caught in a thunderstorm, I count the seconds between the lightning flashes and booming sounds of thunder so I can know whether or not I need to get inside immediately. Fun fact, I do tend to run through storms when it is questionably dangerous outside. So don't do what I do. I've watched lightning strike a tree about 100 yards away from me. Fun times, because that scared the crap out of me. That doesn't always work out well for me, as seen by my still dislocated finger. For more fun misadventures while running, check out my video on villains, in which I discussed the run where I fell down granite steps during an ice storm. Then there are the summer days where the humidity makes my runs feel like I am swimming through air, where my shirts cling to me as I drip with sweat from the moment I take off. For better or worse, hopefully these sensory images make my runs feel more real to you. Writing is such a stunning way of conveying ideas because one person has put concepts from the head down in a way that get interpreted by somebody else. Weirder still is that neither person has the same mental images, and like a game of telephone, the variances can often be drastic. I find that fascinating, and one way to make the scene speak more evocatively and form stronger connections between writer and reader is to use all 5 senses. Here are 5 ways to apply the 5 senses to your stories. Number 1, observe the world. Sit on a park bench and absorb your surroundings. See how many individual things you can pick out. Write them all down and try and fill the page or 2 or 3 with as many descriptions as you can. You can also practice this at a busy intersection by listening to cars drive by. Make it a game of guessing the size and type of car. Has the muffler been altered so you can hear it well after it's driven by? Strive to hone in on what makes the world unique around you based on the 5 senses. Number 2, intentionally block senses. In my experience, the easiest sense to write and imagine is sight, which is also the most bland. So actively remove what your character sees and replace it with what they feel, what they hear, what they smell, and what they taste. Going back to that park bench, close your eyes and focus on the smells and sounds. What season is it and how do you know? Is someone grilling mouth-watering barbecue ribs? Are you sniffling because of a high pollen count? Is there a faint smell of rot from decomposing leaves in fall? Is it early enough to hear birds singing from every conceivable direction? Are the sounds of insect chirps covering the noises of kids playing in the park? Do you hear a loud cracking noise as a baseball bat strikes a ball perfectly for a home run? Or is the park silent as cold, snowy flakes fall, dampening all noise? Can you imagine this magical park not locked to a single time or place? Number 3, get in your characters' heads. How do your characters interact with the world around them? When it comes to setting the scene, don't overdo it with long descriptions or purple prose. Instead, show us maybe the 2 or 3 most important things to your characters. For example, with a character standing on an overlook in a city, don't trace the roads from one side to the other and mention every single person and store in between. Focus on the one store that catches the narrator's attention. For the warrior, this may be the weapon shop as they plan what they want to buy next. For the assassin, they may hone in on one person and observe how oblivious they appear to be as they're going about their daily lives. Also, smells are closely linked to memories, so you can have a morose character catch a whiff of lavender from somebody passing by, and that triggers them to remember the last fight they had with their ex. Number 4, show don't tell. Booming thunder is telling us about the sounds of the storm. Instead, have the character flinch or cover their ears as a reaction to the deafening storm around them. Building off of my previous point about how senses are linked to memories, You can show us a character's backstory. Have the narrator overhear the sputtering of a car and instantly diagnose the part that needs to be replaced based on their years as a car mechanic. Again, don't tell us that they used to work in a shop. Show it based on their diagnostics and troubleshooting for what part needs to be replaced. Number 5, learn through example. Here are a few short scenes I wrote to showcase the senses and help you along. The valley spread before me like a green, plush, uneven carpet of tall grass. Yeah, it is a little tropey to compare carpets and grass, but this is a simple example. Sounds are an easy introduction to scenery and may reveal what's lying in wait. Passing over the rising hill, I heard endless fields of wheat swishing in the wind. A snapping twig announced that I was no longer alone. Metal rang against metal as I raised my sword to block the surprise attack. Taste was a little weird for this scene, so I combined it with smell. Morning dew dripped from my leather boots as I shook them, making my parched mouth water for a single drop. The wind carried the scent of freshly cut stalks of corn, strong enough to taste, reminding me of my carefree days when all I needed to do was worry about harvest season. Running through the tall bushes, sharp bristles picked at my exposed legs, cutting flesh as though razors were being dragged over me. These 5 senses allow us to imagine the setting. Excellent writers are capable of evoking strong emotions in readers by melding the senses with backstory, all while delivering and showcasing how the narrator perceives their world. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. How do you blend the 5 senses while writing? Is there one sense in particular that you struggle with incorporating more? Do you agree with my opinions, or is everything I said wrong? Let me know in those comments below. I also post my running and writing thoughts on social media, so be sure to follow me and join in with your own notes. Come back next week as I continue this series on improving scenes with tips to build in more tension. See you next time. Until then, add in those 5 senses.